Now, Texas A&M, I wanted to talk about your boy Johnny Manziel because I know he's your favorite person in the whole fucking wide world, George. They're getting it done. They beat Arkansas in Arkansas. Manziel obviously had another good game. He's a fucking highlight reel. What do you think? Do you think he can win the Heisman again this year?
Well, with the way these commentators talk about him, they say he's the most electrifying, entertaining player to ever play college football.
I don't know.
Or at least they say he's the most electrifying, entertaining football player this year. And I guess that's what the Heisman is now. It's who puts on the best show, because I always thought it was college's MVP.
Yeah, I've looked at it like that too. Like, who does?
And one of the comments that was made earlier this season is, I won't vote for A.J. McCarron because he has too much talent around him.
You know what, George?
That's fucked up and not fair. And like, if I'm telling you right now, if I was on the Heisman committee, voting committee, and one of the voters it's Robert Smith, the guy who used to play running back for the Vikings and I think went to Ohio State, sat there and said that. He said, I will not vote for A.J. McCarron because he has too much talent, but I would vote for Teddy Bridgewater. And I don't know, but Teddy Bridgewater is putting up video game numbers against Sisters of the Poor, Desperate and Departed, and every other rotten college in the universe. And he said he'll vote for him because of the stats he's putting up, but A.J. McCarron won't because he's got better talent, but A.J. McCarron plays against better talent week in and week out. I would take his vote away. I'm like, I can't believe he said that shit out loud.
You know what's fucked up? I agree with him, man. I look at fucking what Bama has around, and it just reminds me of so many of those motherfuckers from USC that fucking won the Heisman. And then they got to the pros, and they stunk shit. And you and I always talked about it, people like Lionheart and all these guys that, Sanchez, that were studs at USC, and you were like, you had the best fucking line in the fucking Pac-10. Obviously Alabama doesn't have the line that they had last year, but it's just so, you have every fucking top recruit pretty much in the country wanted to go to Bama because they're on a run right now. And you look at them, and you have to obviously ask yourself, do you think McCarron is going to come into the pros and make that much of an impact?
No, but when's the last time an Alabama player did?
Yeah, and I think another player you got to say was this. People would go crazy about Tim Tebow, and people forgot all the fucking talent that Tim Tebow had around him in Florida when fucking Urban Meyer was there. They were fucking loaded with talent, and everybody's like, Tim Tebow is the second coming of Jesus. He's fucking great. He's awesome. He's going to get the Heisman, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? We saw how much of that was everything that he had around him. But with that said, I don't think you and I, if we were honored with being ever down the road, maybe when we're 1,000 years old, somebody caring about our opinion on the Heisman, that we'd announce it to the world who we would or wouldn't vote for and make it. I don't see how you can get away with that. No, you're right.
I don't see how you can say that shit out loud. You might be thinking it, but it's one of those things that just should never come out of your mouth.
No, you know what? You're fucking absolutely right about that. That was just stupid. You don't go out there and you don't put your shit on full blast and tell everybody.
And to me, it's not fair to pay. Yes, I understand why somebody wouldn't vote for him, but I don't think if it's stats driven, and that's my problem with that award. We never know what that award is truly for. Is it the most valuable player on his team?
Right.
Is it the guy who's had the best career? Because sometimes you'll have a senior in there against a senior against a sophomore, and you're talking about what the senior's done his whole career, but then you're talking about what the sophomore did for one season. So is it a season award? Is it a career award? Like, they need to make that award more clear-cut as to what they're looking for. And then my thing is, if A.J. McCarron puts up crazy stats and then goes undefeated in the SEC, I don't see how you can't give it to someone doing that. I'm just saying down the road. It's a fucked up award. That means nothing.
It is, to me, I always look at subtract the player from his team. Where does his team stand? That's how I've looked at it. Like, if you take...
Do me a favor. Tell me Alabama's backup quarterback.
You know what, George? I couldn't tell you the backup running back, the quarterback, but I will tell you this. I know they're good as shit. I know that backup quarterback might possibly be able to start on another SEC team. They're fucking good.
From what we were told, the backup quarterback of Florida is better, and they will officially run the table as they struggled with Kentucky.
Right. But you see that. But I think if you take Manziel away from A&M, what do you have?
I would say a really good quarterback backing him up because they're in the SEC. You're not going to have a Johnny Manziel. That's unrealistic. But you have a quarterback who can probably win 8 college games? Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think that Manziel is more Texas A&M needs Johnny Manziel more than Alabama needs McCarron. I think that.
Well, according to the commentators, Football needs Johnny Manziel. The fucker made the cover of Time magazine. When was the last time anyone did that in college football?
Dude, he's the great.
Tim Tebow didn't even make that motherfucker.
People can't take this the wrong way, but he's the great white hope, dude. I mean, you see a guy that's, you see pocket quarterbacks, and you and I were said we were going to do a video on this, and that's to come later on, but he is a kind of guy that he is a playmaker. There's shit where he gets out and he scrambles and he lets that ball go. And you know what, George, you said some of the shit is lucky. Absolutely. But the problem is defenses freak the fuck out. They're like, what is this squirrely motherfucker going to do? So they have to be accountable for shit. And he makes them say, you know what? If we fucking bite on this, if we don't do this, he's going to fucking break loose or he's going to fucking burn us with a long pass. And so he is a highlight reel. I mean, you can't take that away.
And I'm not taking anything away from the kid's talent, but when you roll and throw these hopes and prayers up into the end zone, it's not always going to pay off.
No, it's not. And somebody will get him, but the problem is, will they get him at the college level? And he's so fucking young, and all of a sudden, if you're a fucking high school recruit, okay, now all of a sudden somebody says, their coach comes in or someone comes in there and says, hey, we got Johnny Manziel for another year and stuff like this. You could be running behind him. You could be playing with him. People are like, we're going to have national covers. Now all of a sudden this kid helps you recruit. And now all of a sudden,
and you know what? I might be eating some crow and tipping my hat to the young man come November 23rd, but until then, yeah. I just think he's had a really lucky season up to this point with these rolling back and just heaving the ball up into the middle, because he did it again this past week.
Yeah.
He rolled out and just heaved the ball into the middle of the end zone, and his receiver outbodied him. Because my thing is, how would that translate to the next level?
It's not. I really don't think at this point in time his game can't translate to the next level. Now, that kind of game is not going to, we know that's not going to work in the NFL because you're not as fast as Vic. You're not fucking 6'3" or 6'4". You're not, you know what I'm saying? You see someone who was big as shit that could do that, like Cam Newton, and he's struggling. You know what I'm saying? You see when all of a sudden RG3, they take away the read option, you see he's struggling. So it's not going to necessarily translate to the next level, but right now in college where you get judged.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And that's,
he's a great college football player, just like Tommy Frazier, just like those system quarterbacks that came out of Nebraska,
yep.
Just like those kids that came out of USC. But yeah, Eric, I mean, they were great. They ran the option better than probably anyone I've ever seen run it. I mean, right. And I'm young, so I'm not like you. I didn't watch TV in black and white, so I don't know what they look like with the leather helmets and the rock football. I'm not joning them, pointing out the obvious, but
I'm trying to say I had a Jesus Christ starter jacket and shit.